coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jet airliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Coyle Lee with you here, as always, brought to you by thehoosier.com. Go to Rivals, thehoosier.com, complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. Jimmy's at the wheel keeping us on track. Todd, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was perfect weather weekend. Everything was awesome.
It was. Nick Elam's going to join us today as not college basketball, but basketball is coming back. The return of the basketball tournament. Looking forward to that, Todd. That's always just an entertaining, fun thing to watch.
You know it is, and would have never told you a couple of years ago that they could put something like that on at that time of year and have it be, as entertaining as it is. But I think they just did a great job in embracing some little bit different rules, although keeping it pretty much the same. But the Elam ending and all of that has just made it, kind of exciting. And it's timed pretty perfectly right now for coming back that July 4th weekend and there not being anything else on prior to that. So I think their viewership is going to be pretty big this year.
Well, you're not lying. That's just something that people won't be able to wait to get back, because we're probably not going to have baseball, but it's fun anyway. And so Nick Elam is going to join us today on the program. Looking forward to talking to him and to that as well. I saw that the Indiana did not take long in getting the signage up for the Bill Garrett Fieldhouse. It looks amazing. I don't know if you saw it on social media or not, but the sign's up, a hyper building, I forget what the old name was. I always call it the Hyper. But it's now the Bill Garrett Fieldhouse, and it looks great.
Yeah, and what a cool thing, and to rename that. And, I saw a lot of people say it, and I mean, I know you and I are from the generation, and I think Jimmy probably, as a student at IU, the same way, and in that it's always just going to be the Hyper to us. I mean, I would have almost wished they would have named a different building after him, because it's going to be hard to not call it the Hyper building.
It's because it's so easy, for one. It's just and if college students do nothing else, if they try to shorten everything is chopped down to little bitty initials or whatever, because it's just easiest and it's cooler than, I guess. But yeah, everything's hyper.
And it's it's like, do you call Assembly Hall Simon Scott Assembly Hall, or do you call it Assembly Hall? I mean, I know when we do radio,
only because yes.
When we do radio stuff, we try to use the full name. But if I was just saying, hey, meet me over at, I would say, meet me over at Assembly Hall. Just it's the way it's the way we were kind of brought up with it. So, it's a cool deal. I'm glad that they're doing something with it. I hope we figure out a way to call it the Garrett Dome or something interesting so that we'll actually change what we call it.
Bill's house.
Yeah, good one. Anything. No, because then I'll think of Bill Walton. So no, it's got to be Garrett.
Yeah, there will be nothing named for Bill Walton on campus, but there is a battle I saw, and this may be just a single person, and I thought that the complaint was ridiculous, but they were praising the renaming of the Bill Garrett Fieldhouse while saying that something like the Simon Scott Assembly Hall is ridiculous, that it's only up that these names should be for merit only. And I'm like, yeah, well, if we lived in a perfect world, that would be great, but they gave $40 million to renovate that thing, so they're going to put their name on it. It's not going to be the Bob Knight Assembly Hall. It's not going to be the Branch McCracken Assembly Hall or anything else. But
was the argument because it was on a college campus? So I mean, are they saying
I think probably so.
Fieldhouse?
Probably is like, I'd say university, since it's university. They were complaining, and I'm sure that there's maybe some truth to that. But you're not going to turn $40 million down, man.
Look, if that's all you've got to worry about in a day, then that's an issue that we'll talk about. But come on, man, that can't possibly be that big of an issue that somebody's that upset about it.
Yeah, it's funny the things the people find to complain about. Let's see. PGA returned. We better save that, man. You'll get going on that one. Stop. NASCAR.
Say, how much time you got?
Let me talk NASCAR first because he won't add anything to this. Let's see. Denny Hamlin won last night. They were in Miami. It was kind of fun watching that race, but they had a big, long weather delay before they got going. So that was late, which forced me to wait and on watching the Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa deal. Did you watch that?
Not a single pitch. None. Zero.
It's a 30 for 30. We got to get you involved in the rest of the sports. 30 for 30 on those two guys last night. Do you remember the home run derby between them back in the 90s when they're battling and it ends up because of they were both taking steroids?
Oh, you mean the steroid battle? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I very, very closely remember the steroid battle.
But it's a very interesting thing because it just kind of.
Are they as upfront and honest as Lance Armstrong was?
I'll be honest with you. I've got to go back and watch it again. I tried to watch it 3 times. It was like at 1 a.m. I kept falling asleep. So
gotcha.
I've got to go back and rewatch it. I'm very interested to see that because they have so far. I know they have Tony La Russa on. They got all of them. Sammy Sosa. Sammy's got the Sammy Davis Jr. look going too, man. He's got his hair slicked. But the Mark McGuire, they're all on there. So I'm like, okay. Are they gonna? Surely they have to ask the question. This guy, there's no way you don't. So, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm like, dang on it, I gotta go back and watch it again.
Well, if the 30 for 30, if the topic of conversation is not, whether they were juiced or not, then it's a worthless.
Well, there's no way that they're not. There's no way that they're not. They have to address it. There's just
that's one of the things I thought was good about the Lance Armstrong. Now he came out of it. I think he's a jerk. But I truly respect his honesty, and I respect the fact that he was willing to talk about, all of the, how much it was used within the whole, biking community and all of that. But I mean, if they're going to try to come out in this thing and say,
I doubt that. I'm not suggesting that at all because there's no way that they don't. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm sure.
So I can transition this right into the golf talk because it's really interesting. I said this a long time ago, and if you go back and look at pictures of even Mark McGuire, but he was kind of a bigger guy to start, but not near as big as he got.
Not a home run hitter from the beginning.
Barry Bonds especially. I mean, his body transformation was incredible. So he either had just an unbelievable workout routine, or obviously he was juicing on steroids. And in golf, this is an interesting transition right now because you had 2 things over the weekend. If you're familiar with Bryson DeChambeau, he has put on 40 pounds in the last 5 months through what they claim is all nutrition and workouts, 3 workouts a day and all of this. And to see the transformation of his body 1 year ago to right now, I remember saying about Barry Bonds, there's no way without steroids, his body went from one to the other in that period of time. And I would have said the same thing about Bryson DeChambeau. If you go look at a picture of him right now versus what he was 1 year ago, there's no way you would think he put on that much muscle and that much size without some type of performance enhancing drug. But he's been tested and there is none. They're in his system. There is none. So it's just, I'm eating some words on that one, but you go look at that right now and it's crazy to see the difference in him.
Yeah, I have not seen that, but I know that the PGA tests like every other sports organization.
Right.
So, and at first I thought it was kind of funny when I learned that a long time ago. I'm like going, I'm like, who the hell's taking steroids on the PGA Tour?
40 pounds. Imagine putting on purposefully 40 pounds. I mean, I could do it through McDonald's, but
well, I did it. I know I did it.
He put it on muscle-wise in a really short period of time. And it was really interesting, to someone who enjoys golf. But in general, it was really interesting because they had 2 different guys on this weekend. One was Bryson DeChambeau, who they talked about how much farther he's hitting the ball because he added 40 pounds. And then they had another guy named Gary Woodland, who won the U.S. Open last year, that his whole thing during the quarantine was he lost 22 pounds. And so he was trying to put himself in better shape. And he wasn't fat to start with. So he put himself in a position to where he was more flexible and that's his version of how to hit the ball farther. And then you had Bryson DeChambeau, who added 40 pounds. It's just, it was really interesting to hear the different philosophies they had going.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about golf later because we're not going to have time in this segment to finish it. But it did return yesterday. Let's see who ended up winning that. Berger.
Daniel Berger won the playoff.
I did not watch hardly any of that. I was out playing myself, as a matter of fact. But good golf?
It was great. It was a fun course for them to come back on because it's a tournament where they play there every year. So if you watch golf a lot, you know the holes and you know what to expect and what the holes are birdieable and stuff like that. So it was fun to watch these guys get back into it. Tiger didn't play. Brooks Koepka didn't play. The couple of the big guys didn't play, but for the most part, everyone else did. And it was a great leaderboard and came right down to the end, went into a playoff. And Colin Morikawa missed a real short putt in the playoff. So that was kind of heartbreaking. But it was a good competitive tournament for sure.
Well, you remember what's the cars that like the Pinewood Derby when you were in Boy Scouts, but the big ones for people?
Soapbox Derby.
Soapbox Derby. Yes,
Soapbox Derby. Yeah.
Best thing I saw this weekend. I woke up. My TV was on all night, unfortunately, which means I got no sleep. But I woke up to the Soapbox Derby from England, no less. How about that?
They have a Soapbox Derby in England?
Apparently so. Allegedly so.
I thought that was a Boy Scout thing. I thought that was a United States Boy Scout thing.
This was, but they were in them driving these things. They just go downhill. It was awesome. They're all fixed up different ways. They had.
So it's like a bobsled just on wheels, right?
Yes, the course is not easy. There's big steps they would go off of. There was a water thing they'd have to go off of, and these things would just get torn up. This one, I thought there were some good wrecks. I'm like, oh my God. But it's funny, the trouble. They were just these English goofs just being funny, but it was kind of funny, entertaining.
I'll have to check that out. It actually sounds entertaining, to be honest with you.
It was just kind of different. They were just all having fun and enjoying it. So what the heck?
Channel was that on? ESPN?
That was on ESPN, man. That was on ESPN. Mason, I noticed Mason Miller on Rivals and several, the 75% crystal ball pointing towards Indiana right now. That's kind of a lot of Hoosier fans. I felt the same way once his dad left Memphis. I'm like, I got a feeling that Indiana's in a lot better shape here. I just, for some reason, I haven't had that feeling about anybody with Archie and an out-of-state kid. And for some reason,
Alec Lastly gave us a good insight on the whole Tom Ostrom from the University of Florida with his dad, right. Mike Miller. That was an angle I really hadn't gone that far back and thought through. But that's a great tie to have, because anyone that's had contact with Tom Ostrom in the past always has great things to say. So, he's a big part of Archie's successful recruiting streak that they're on, and I know that's a pretty nice deal to have that going for you.
Heck yeah, man! Any relationship's great. That's what you use those things for, to a better. But I've just had that good feeling ever since his dad left. I'm like, let's just set them up in a better shape. And I think. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm not in that situation with them, so I could be totally wrong. But I'm beginning to wonder that if it was already known that he was not going to come to Memphis, they may not know where he was going to go, but they knew, and that would not be a good look. I don't know if he didn't go to Memphis with his dad on the staff.
It's very difficult to think about. When you walk into the room, like there's an elephant in the room all the time. I mean, that'd be tough to be a coach somewhere and have your kid be that good and that highly recruited and not come and play for. I mean, how do you explain that to other kids?
Yeah,
it's just almost impossible.
So that tells me he was not going to Memphis, which again gives Indiana a little bit better leg up, I think. But we'll see. Hey, we got a great program up today. Nick Elam, he's going to join us. The Elam ending from the TBT. The TBT returns in a few weeks, but we'll get Nick up here up next. Looking forward to that. Later on, we're going to talk about IU football is returning, but not only that, every Big Ten football school has double-digit starters returning. That is freaking crazy. Every Big Ten school football has double-digit starters returning.
Yeah, that's crazy. When you think about that, that's crazy.
That's going to be talent. Hey, we got Nick Elam joining us coming up there. Make sure you, if you're looking for something to do for Father's Day, we got you covered down at I'm going to take him to the Donald Ross course at French Lick. I can get that done for you. Dad plays for just $1. Major Dad points this Father's Day by treating him to a round on the Donald Ross course at French Lick. Dad plays for just $1 with a full paid round. On Sunday, June 21st, hurry, tee times won't last. Give him a call, 812-936-5523. Give him a call today, 812-936-5523. We're back with Nick Elam right after this on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios.
Myself, so I walked up and said, radio song.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday. Could not be happier to have Nick Elam joining us. Nick's been on this before. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Great to be with you.
Man, the TBT's coming back in a couple of weeks, and it's got to make everybody exciting. Excited to have some live sports, but basketball, but most of all because this thing is just fun to watch, and I think that's why it has continued to grow and prosper. And the Elam Indy is a big part of that, but it's a good, fun tournament.
It's a lot of fun, and that's what was so thrilling for me that they were the first ones to give the Elam Indy a chance back in 2017 because TBT was an event that I was already familiar with. I already watched avidly every summer, and for them to be the ones to embrace it, that was really exciting to me. So it's a fun event, and the 2020 edition will be unlike any other for sure.
Now, do you have any involvement with the actual tournament?
So I do stay in touch with the organizers. We're in contact every few weeks about this or that. So, I mean, in that way, yes, we stay in communication throughout the year and throughout the off season to get ready for the summer event.
Will you be on site for when they start July 4th in Columbus? Will you be on site for that?
Doubtful, and that's tough because in the years past I've traveled far and wide to go to as many games in person as I can, but I think in 2020 that won't be realistic.
Yeah, the COVID-19 has just put a kibosh on a lot of things, but it's going to be in Columbus there at least, so it's close by.
It is close by, and I know Columbus will do a great job with it, and it'll be exciting to see who comes out on top, because when they whittled the field down to just 24 teams, and so really you're dealing with the cream of the crop there. So it should be a great event this year.
Now, does that not give the Ohio State alums a big advantage? Because I think they did pretty well in that tournament.
They have an advantage because they got a great team. Their talent is enough of an advantage as it is. So, I mean, normally you would think, well, they're in Columbus, that'll be an advantage because their fans are so passionate, but they won't have the fan support because there won't be anybody in attendance. So, I'm not sure how much the home court advantage will come into effect with nobody in attendance.
I know last time that we had talked was kind of right after the NBA All-Star game when it was so successful with your ending and the addition of that. Have you had, and we talked at that point about, what the future might be. I think it was just endless opportunities as to where this might go. What's transformed or transpired? Has anything happened that might make this ending or change the ending in a positive way?
Yeah, so that's what's great is that now that the format's been implemented, now we get to really scrutinize it and try to figure out, okay, how do we make the format even better? And I've always said I think that I'm really the toughest critic of the Elam ending because I really try to look at it inside and out and try to figure out because I want it to be as good as it can possibly be. So for 2020 at TBT, one small modification is going to be how they handle fouls on the floor during the final stretch of the game. Instead of getting 2 shots, you're only going to get 1 free throw, but you're going to get to keep possession if there's a foul on the floor. Now, what this will do, this is going to address a very specific scenario, a sudden death scenario at the end of the game where if a team was trying to shoot a 3-pointer to win the game and their opponent was just 1 or 2 points from that target score, sometimes you would see a team foul to prevent that game-winning 3-pointer. But with this new rule, there's no reason to foul because they're just going to get 1 shot in possession. So there's no advantage to fouling there. We're going to see that situation play out more fluidly, and we're going to get these heart-stopping scenarios where you've got a shot in the air that could potentially win the game. Everybody holds their breath to see if it wins the game, and I think that'll make a great format even better. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
What is do you have a dream of where you would like to see this? How far you'd like to see this? Other organizations that you'd like to see this, a permanent part of?
Absolutely, and I mean, dream is the word because this is a dream for me to see this concept continue to grow, and ultimately, I want to see it implemented at the highest levels of play of the NBA, the WNBA, the NCAA Division I, or the Olympics. And, I don't think overnight it's going to be implemented across the board at those highest levels, but I think the format's going to continue to grow at different levels in the meantime, and that's what's exciting. And so I feel like every league or event should have the opportunity to announce that implementation on their own terms. But what I will say is that here in the coming weeks, we're going to get an exciting announcement about another league or event that is implementing the format.
Well, I hope you come back on and announce it on with us, man.
I hope it's AAU. I know this is the wrong year for that to be the case because it's just so weird with all the tournaments being postponed. But I hope eventually all AAU tournaments and summer programs implement that ending because not just what you just talked about with the fouling at the end, and that it'll also eliminate, in my opinion, I think it'll eliminate a lot of the hack-a-shack type things where they're fouling a particular kid because he can't make free throws, and it'll just make for so much more exciting endings. But I hope AAU is the first one that takes that thing down.
I agree with you totally, and AAU has dipped their toes in the water. I know there's one event in Michigan called the Up North Challenge. Last year they implemented the format successfully, and I could see that growing in AAU, and that might be, again, like you said, of all the different settings for it, I think it's really conducive to something like AAU, because in those AAU tournaments, a lot of times you have multiple games scheduled back to back to back in the same venue. And one thing that the Elam ending does is it helps to keep events like that on track, where you don't get backed up. You don't have these like 30-minute delays, hour-long delays, where where it throws the whole schedule out of whack. So for something like AAU, I think it's ideal. Absolutely.
Yeah, you are preaching to the choir. Anyone who's had a kid play in an AAU basketball tournament, and baseball even for that matter, knows you show up for a game time and it's 2 hours later, and that's not even unusual. So yeah, I think the fairness with it, every aspect of AAU should take this ending and implement it, because it's something that'll just make so many different aspects of the tournaments go smoother.
That's who I think could be the one, the announcement he's talking about. Nick's talking about G League.
It would work out perfect.
Well, All-Star game worked out. They put it G League. Yeah. I see. I'm guessing here, Nick. I
said it last time, but we could be the spokespeople for the Elam ending. That's for sure. We love it.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely fun. But I can see the G League. That would make their games a little better. Gives them something different. The G League needs something to add to it. So there you go. Maybe
he's not talking. He's not giving it up.
Hey Nick, you still with us?
Your events, and so it definitely gets my vote.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we'll certainly look forward to getting you back on here in a few weeks once the TBT gets going. And, of course, whenever that announcement is made, we'll talk about that too. Looking forward to that. But what else? How can you benefit from this? Because everybody just takes it and uses it. Because I know you'd love to stay involved because it's your ideal, your baby. And but, man, how we got to get Nick involved in this?
Hey, yeah, absolutely. That's something that I keep in mind for sure. And so, yeah, if there's anybody out there, a representative out there who can advocate for me, that'd be great. And no, I think ultimately it will have that indirect benefit for me, and being attached with this idea. I think that whether it's in the sports realm or even the business realm or education realm, people will say, hey, this Elam guy's got some pretty good ideas. Let's bring him on board as a consultant, whatever it might be, or public speaking opportunity, some sort of consulting or job opportunity. You never know, maybe even an endorsement opportunity. But I do think that there's going to be some indirect benefit for sure for all this hard work that I put in.
Well, let's certainly hope so. We'll be your spokespeople, man.
No doubt.
We'll bang the drum.
I'm on board for sure.
We're big fans. Well, Nick, I can't thank you enough, man, for joining us, taking the time, and looking forward to the TBT getting started and whatever else is about to come out, this big announcement. We'll talk about that when you come back on next time as too.
Very good. I appreciate it.
You betcha. Nick Elam joining us here. You know him from the Elam ending, and you'll be seeing it soon. There's the TBT getting underway July 4th coming up soon. So looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing what that announcement is. I'm betting G League, man. It makes sense.
But is the G League but he said it's going to be announced soon. Is the G League going to be playing anytime soon?
No,
I don't think that happens.
But they may announce it soon. Is there anything else that's going to be playing soon other than they're not
AAU? AAU. That's what I thought it was going to be.
What about the return of the NBA? They wouldn't do that.
Boy, no. If they did, can you imagine?
Oh my God, there's no way. There's no way. Major League.
Here's the thing, though. There's no better time that they could do it, because everything is just out of whack right now. Everything is weird. And so with this, abbreviated end of the regular season / abbreviated playoffs, it couldn't be a better time to try something like that out. Now, that being said, I still think it's probably a stretch for them to go out on a limb that much. And although they threw it in the All-Star game is just, it's an anomaly. Like it's not really that big a deal. It became a big deal simply because of the ending, and no one could talk any more highly about how that thing ended than NBA fans. So it wouldn't totally shock me, although I just don't know that they have that kind of foresight to try that out.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there trying to rack my brain on who else it could be. And I can't.
I mean,
because I'm trying to think of who's actually going to be playing now.
Right. I know. I mean,
that's what I'm trying to think of.
I guess the announcement doesn't have to mean it's going to be. You might be right. It might be the G League, and it might be for next season. So, I guess I was thinking the announcement would mean it's getting ready to happen right away. It's our immediate gratification need that we want there, but. It's just very difficult. It's like changes in golf rules that have been around for 100 years, and a rule changes, and you're like, yeah, that's not the way it's supposed to be, and that's not necessarily true. I mean, things need to adapt and evolve and change, and because we're such, I would say we're basketball purists because we loved it since we were little kids, and we just know the way the rules were supposed to be and have always been. And so the change to us is a little bit, I don't want to say goofy because I really like it, but I also don't know that I'd be willing to accept and adapt it, in college basketball. If they said right now they're going to put it in college basketball next year, I think 70% of me would be excited about it and 30% would be apprehensive because I'm just not sure I want what I know is a fact to change. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a little Sheldon Cooper in me. Just not willing to accept the change.
I hear that. Tebow hit the text line up. Morning, guys. Had a great time in Nolan. What's the chance we get Braden Smith? Seems similar to Jordan Hall's. I'm not sure on that one yet. He's too early for me to talk about. I don't know enough on him. But Josh in Jeffersonville says Coach Miller bring in both Trey Kaufman and Mason Miller in the same class? I think he will bring both of them in the same class. With the news of Mason trending more towards IU, does that put a little pressure on Kaufman to speed things up a bit? I don't think so. I don't think that he cares about anybody else. I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't think he cares what anybody else is doing. He's got his focus on – I think he knows exactly what he's going to do, where he's going. He probably knows where he's going to go. Most kids kind of have an idea, I would think.
He's probably got it narrowed down and has one that's probably above the others. But here's a recruiting mindset thing for just the average fan like us to keep in mind is, it would make a big difference. Like let's just say, for example, right now, if Trey Kaufman was a point guard, and he was a 6'2" point guard. I mean, he may look at Indiana and say, boy, they are stacked for at least another 2 years in that position. That may factor against him. The position that he plays, they're not stacked in that position. And they're not even going to be, even if Mason Miller commits there, they're still not stacked in that position to where right now I'm seriously thinking there's going to be 3 guys on the floor that are under 6'5" and under for Indiana for a good portion of the games, and throughout the meat and potato of big time Big Ten games, and that very easily can change if you can bring in a Mason Miller and a Trey Kaufman. That could go the opposite, and you could have 3 guys on the floor for the majority of the game that are 6'7" or bigger, and so it can change the way the team is built and made up. But I don't think Mason Miller committing or Trey Kaufman committing should have that big of an impact or effect on whether the other commits or comes.
I agree with you. Get your text in. We're going to talk more about some basketball recruiting and a little football when we come back. Ohio State players got to they have to sign a waiver to come back for the voluntary workouts. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat on from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. If you're looking for something for Father's Day, got you covered. You can make his dreams. If he hasn't played the French Lick course, you got a shot to play the Donald Ross course for just $1. That's right. Score major dad points for Father's Day by treating him to a round on the Donald Ross course at French Lick. Dad plays for just $1 with a full paid round on Sunday, June 21st. Hurry, tee times won't last. Give him a call, 812-936-5523. That's 812-936-5523. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Way from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat. Coyle and Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday. It's June 15th. Man, we're halfway through June. Almost halfway through summer, or through the year. Crazy. I'm sure a lot of people,
summer hadn't even started yet. We're not halfway through summer.
Halfway through the year, yeah.
Halfway through the year, yeah.
And I'm sure most people cannot wait till we get the other half through this year. It's been a weird one. Before we left, we were talking about Josh had texted us in asking if I thought that Archie could land both Kaufman and Mason Miller. I think he will. I really do. I think that the crystal ball is pointing towards Indiana for Mason Miller. I kind of thought that way myself. I have that's my feeling. But again, that doesn't mean jack. We've seen guys you think are going someplace and they go other wells. But Kaufman, I think they're complementing each other. I think that Mason Miller's more of an inside-out guy. Kaufman's more of an outside-in guy.
Well, here's a big factor that I see with that, and this is just truly not knowing them personally or knowing the situation. But if his father, Mike Miller, left Memphis and was an assistant coach, and he left Memphis, what I don't know is, will he go to another school where maybe he left Memphis because that's not where he wanted Mason to go, and maybe he wants to go to a different place. The issue with Indiana is they don't have any coaching open spots. any coaching vacancies.
And then now the question is, does he find a job before he commits? And if so, does that lead into that? Or does he stay completely out of it, which I'm thinking that he probably does.
That's probably the most likely scenario, that he stays out of it and he's not a part of the coaching staff. But stranger things have happened, and it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if all of a sudden, he's an assistant at LSU and he ends up going to LSU, I mean, that stuff happens all the time. I mean, it's just normal.
Yeah, I just I've got a good feeling for Indiana, but that doesn't mean a lot. We'll see how that goes. Hey, did you get that? I sent you an email yesterday. Did you get?
I did get it. Yeah, I did get it.
How
and
cool is that?
And responded to Rob. It was incredible.
Shout out to Rob. I don't know his last name, I guess, but
I don't want to say it. Yeah, I don't want to say it.
But very cool. Sent some, and actually a Purdue fan, so even makes it even cooler. But sent some stuff in. Your father, man. I mean, grandfather.
My grandfather. Yeah, he sent me some pictures. I know we had talked on Friday about. My grandfather had played basketball at Indiana University as well. And he actually sent me some pictures from the high school team in Greenfield, which was just incredible and neat things I've never seen before. And it was really neat. It was some cool stuff. So I appreciated that very much.
I looked at it and I'm like going, wow, this is just cool stuff, man. Anytime you find stuff like that, it's just like the other day with the story of Bill Torfey from Bedford, who was a member of an Indiana national championship team, but almost not only lost for a long time, but almost lost forever. And when you resurface that, not that your grandfather's information was lost, but when you don't see it, when you don't know how to access it or to get to it, it's basically lost to you. So pretty cool finding that stuff. I enjoyed
and seeing that. So this is some of the irony that goes with it is my grandfather's number when he played at Greenfield High School was number 30.
No kidding.
I was number 30 at IU and at Lawrence North, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that my grandfather's number was number 30. It was pure coincidence that ended up being his number. Now, he was number 8 when he went to IU, which, that was kind of cool. I wish there wasn't a number 8 when I was there. I probably would have tried to pick that.
I can't think of an 8.
The only 8 I can think of is Dan Marley. I mean, Dan Marley was number 8 for Phoenix.
So
Phoenix
how does it
Suns.
work? So you're not allowed to pick a number. You're only allowed to pick numbers that are available.
It's different now than it used to be. It used to be, you could only pick 1 through 5 or 0 through 5.
Right. Because
and there was even a while you couldn't pick 0, but you could pick 0 through 5.
But I mean,
and
for
then
Indiana,
you could have.
how does it work for Indiana?
You could have picked whatever number you wanted. It didn't.
Oh, okay.
You could any number that was available, but like the number 8.
Was an odd number. And the reason for that is when a referee calls a foul, they walk to the scores table. They want to be able to signal it with one hand, either 553 or
if it's 2 hands, it's a double-digit number.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just cool stuff, man. It was awesome. Anytime you discover that kind of stuff, it's crazy. Mentioned earlier that on the football side of things, next year, every Big Ten football team has double-digit starters returning. My gosh, how freaking good is that? That's why the Big Ten is so good right now. I mean, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, except for I will say it is a recipe for success. Totally agree. The reason why the SEC probably doesn't have that is because Alabama had that many guys that got drafted. So they had double-digit guys that got drafted. And so, yeah, it leads you to believe that the experience in the Big Ten is incredible and should put them in a great position, but just seems like the SEC is a factory for developing these young freshmen and sophomores.
Timo said, did you guys see Geronimo's workout slam? Yeah, I saw there's a video of Geronimo up on there. This dude I did see there was a workout with
Anthony Leal and Jordan. Yep.
What I noticed about Geronimo, he got to the rim with kind of a little bit of ease. It was not very difficult for him getting to the rim. He didn't seem like he was really having to exert that much energy.
Yeah, he's more athletic than Anthony Leal. I mean,
I wasn't cracking on Anthony. I'm just saying, Geronimo,
no, not at all.
You can see that Geronimo's got a little something extra.
Yeah, I mean, he's more athletic. I mean, that was pretty evident by those videos, but. The first video I saw was all dunking and that stuff. And that's, that's whatever to me, because they don't do those dunks in the game. It just shows you how athletic they are. The second one where they were shooting 3-pointers was a little bit, better for me. The only thing about it I didn't like was they only showed makes. I mean, I'd like to see them shoot like 20 shots and what they make out of 20. I don't need to show them make every shot.
Yeah, unedited deal.
I can make a highlight video of a second grader look pretty darn good.
You can make me look good.
If you give me enough video, I can make him look pretty good.
You can make me look good with an edit machine, trust me. Ryan from Michigan hit the text line as well. Is it looking good for IU hoops moving forward? I like the direction of what we are becoming, and also for IU football. I really think IU football is going to get 9 or 10 wins this year. Well, very possible. They should have got it last year. It's very possible. They should have got that last year. But getting it is two different things. We'll see how that works out. But as far as basketball moving forward, yeah, I think it is. I like the direction of recruiting. And if they can land the guys that we've talked about today, Kaufman and a Miller, together with what they already have, I mean, yeah, when the talent gets better, you get better. It just kind of goes that way. When the better talent you have, you're going to be better. You almost have to be.
And I'm gonna say it this way, and I know I sound like Negative Nancy from time to time when I do this, but having the right kind of talent, and I should say the right kind of kid with talent, is, to me, it's immeasurable as to how important that is. And I'm telling you, that's what Indiana has right now. And I don't say that to say anything negative about former players, but I think the addition by subtraction with this season come up, I love the kind of guys that are coming in. It's not just their abilities. You could talk about Anthony Leal. Okay. I could sit here and talk all day about Anthony Leal because he's come from a winning program in high school. He's a winner. I mean, his teams win, and his AAU teams won, his high school team won. I mean, that's the kind of kid you want coming in, and he's a good kid. And if you go see him you see him out on the street. I saw him in Bloomington the other day, and I said, "Hey, Anthony, how you doing?" And he said, "I'm doing good. How are you, sir?" I'm like, "Sir, what are you talking? Like, who says that nowadays?" Like, he's just polite and nice, and it's the kind of kid you want going to it's one you want to root for, and that's what I'm as excited for as anything. These are coachable kids that are very talented, and that's a great thing to be able to say.
Yeah, that's a great point you make of having the right kid with talent. That is such an important deal. And it is. And I think it's going to come through because not only that, but there are also kids who want to be where they are, who want to play with whom they're playing with, and who wants to win together as a team, not an individual. I think that's coming through and with all these guys across the board.
Yeah, it is. And when you put together a team that has 8 guys on it that are all of the same mindset and all team oriented, and they'll do whatever the coach asks for the team's sake to win. And then you get 2 guys that are super, super selfish and worried about getting to the NBA and what the NBA scouts told them they need to work on and those types of things. When you get guys that are worried about that, now going and getting that information is not the problem. But when you get guys that are focused on that more than they're focused on the team, then it's a problem. And I think Indiana has eliminated that part of the equation. And I think they have all guys now who are team oriented and want to win. And that, I'm as excited about this team. We have a bunch of team full of Jordan Holes and Will Sheehy's and guys that want to work hard and play hard and win. And that's exciting.
Yeah, and if you look at the possibility of what could be added next season, the excitement continues to grow. Yep. Purdue, what's it going to be like for Matt Painter this year? He's going to have to do a coaching job this year. Not that
it's going to be. It is. I mean, it's a difficult situation. I mean, they've lost 2 guys that to the transfer portal that they're not stacked with crazy talent. Okay, and I'm not saying that to be rude. I mean, I watch Purdue games a lot. I'm a Matt Painter fan, but I mean, if this is going to be one of his best coaching years, or going to need to be one of his best coaching years, because they're going to have to make, something out of what they've got, because they've lost some depth for sure in the 2, transfers that they had out of there.
I don't know where they're going to end up as far as the conference race goes, but I can see Purdue falling to like 9-10 down there because it's going to be a tough season in the Big Ten, and I see Indiana in the top 4, but Purdue's they may struggle this year.
Yeah, I mean they recruiting wise they're doing pretty well. I mean they're doing okay, but I don't see the excitement for them now. Hey, when Carson Edwards committed to go there, I don't think anyone was like, oh yeah, this guy's going to change, this guy's going to change everything. I mean, they turned him into a great player. So they've got a good development system and program. And maybe they'll have somebody have a breakout year. They're going to need it for sure because they struggle to score the basketball and I don't see that improving a lot next year.
Well, especially you look at the fact they lose Nogel Eastern and Harms, who, whether or not neither were dominant players, but both were very integral and expected to be a major part of this season. That's the killer, is when you lose not just one, but 2 pretty big pieces of what you were expecting to do. Man, you got to replace that.
Well, those guys were going to play. I'm just going to say significant minutes. I mean, Matt Harms was going to play 18 to 23, 24 minutes a game. The problem is he wanted to play 32 minutes a game. And that just wasn't going to happen with their roster and who they have. And especially because he gets himself in foul trouble so much. But Nogel Eastern I don't think there's any question Nogel Eastern is one of the best defensive players in all of the Big Ten. And so Purdue has one thing they've been able to hold their hat on for a long time, and that is their defense is always really good. Now, when they added Carson Edwards and they had in Ryan Klein, they had a great offense also. Look how good they became. I mean, they were 3 seconds away from making to the Final Four until Virginia hit some miracle shot. And so now they're back at the point where their defense has to be their staple, and they just lost a 7'3" guy who obviously clogs up the lane and the best on-ball probably defender in all of the Big Ten in Nogel Eastern. So their defense took a hit too. So, yeah, on paper, it looks like they've got a struggle bus coming for this season.
Jennifer in Evansville hit the text line up. She says, but will IU beat Purdue this year? That is the question.
They should.
They should actually they should absolutely beat them at home in Assembly Hall. But what about going on the road? Is this team going to be strong enough to go into an environment like that? With kind of Purdue's going to be probably a wounded animal at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be late enough. I mean, it'll be in January at the earliest. And so they'll have enough games under their belt at that point that they'll have played enough minutes and have enough games under their belt to be. I'm not worried about the freshman aspect of it once the Big Ten gets here.
Great question from Josh in Jeffersonville. Any news on the COVID test for any of the players and staff coming back so far as football and basketball prepare to start things up voluntarily this week? No, I've heard nothing. There's been no announcements, so there's nothing.
Well, today's really just the first day that the actual facilities are open, so I'm assuming we'll hear a lot of testing and stuff going on
throughout the week. I would imagine
get some results of that. I would assume, although we all understand as IU loyal supporters, we all understand Indiana's not the most forthcoming group with medical information. So we also may not hear anything.
Yes, that's a very good point.
It's my very polite way of saying they don't tell us anything.
They keep us in the dark. Absolutely. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. It may be a Big Ten thing. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But great question. As we move forward, hopefully the testing will continue for the athletes. The students are going to start coming on. Well, when's the student? They won't be back until probably September 1st, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, probably Labor Day-ish time would be my guess. I haven't seen the plan yet for that on when they're planning on. Maybe earlier since they're trying to get them out of there by Thanksgiving and home for the break by Thanksgiving. So I'm just not 100% sure on when they'll do that.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to offer. You're going to have testing for students that want to go to games. They're going to have somebody there with the temperature thing on your head.
Right.
I can't imagine them not doing that. To be honest with you, I mean, they wand you. They're going to wand you to how they're they're going to do. That's more important. They probably are more concerned with you bringing in the coronavirus than you are bringing in the
6 feet thing is going to be different for me. I think that's the part that'll go away, because you're going to have these kids living in the dorms together. You're going to have them eating in the, mess halls together. You're going to have these kids together, for the majority of their time. And then it'd be silly to have them go to the games and say, okay, now everybody's got to stay, 3 seats away from each other.
They're not socially distancing now.
They're not socially distant. Yeah. I mean, go out right now go to Bloomington Square right now over the weekend, and you'll see people are not social distancing right now.
Yeah. And it's just going to be, and you're not going to control kids. I mean, you can ask them to do the right things, and I'm sure that they'll try to some degree. Now you can control that at games and things like that. Absolutely.
Some of these peaceful protests may be an actual good barometer as to whether there's going to be a big outbreak or not, because we're definitely seeing lack of social distancing when it comes to these peaceful protests that are going on. And if there's not a huge outbreak from that, that's a real positive sign, in my opinion, because we're talking, thousands and thousands of people together, just like you would see in a college game.
Yep. Hey, for those of you listening on the radio, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the day. We appreciate you listening. Had Nick Elam on, looking forward to moving tomorrow, Chronic Hoosier. Oh, tomorrow we're live from the Foul Course, IU's new golf course. So make sure you join us then. The rest of you staying along, we'll continue along. But for Todd and Jimmy, and I'm Jim Coyle, I'll see you on the radio. And for the rest of you, stick along. We'll be back with more.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic. Safe, effective, even money saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
This is James Blackman Jr., former Indiana Hoosier. Make sure you're keeping up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat. Corey Larry coming to you from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday, June 15th. My goodness. Ohio State players have to sign a waiver to go back for voluntary workouts. Todd, would you sign that waiver?
Yeah, I'm surprised everyone doesn't have to sign a waiver.
Oh, I'm sure.
It depends on what the waiver says, but I mean, yes, of course you would. I mean, if you're going to be at home right now and go to an LA Fitness or go to a workout facility, I guarantee you're going to have to sign a waiver to go in there.
And we've seen some, and I think it was Tim that texted in earlier about it, or no, it was Josh. We've seen schools that did have positive results that have had the tested athletes, and some of them are positive. And
yeah, University of Houston had like 6 in the first 2 days.
So, that's going to make things difficult for them. I guess you can let those 6 guys practice together. But
I'm sure at that point, I'm sure they've got something in place already that, once they test positive, they've got to immediately quarantine them. And, the question is going to be, what's that time frame? And, then everyone they've been in contact with, do they have to be quarantined? I mean, there's just a lot that goes down with that. But
I wonder if we'll see the loss of a player getting to play this year in a sport because of COVID-19. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean
that contracts it, especially if they contract it while participating to prepare.
Yeah, but how are you going to be able to tell that? Is going to be the difference. I mean, how are you going to tell how they contracted it? But the real issue is going to be in the next few months. I mean, aren't we? I don't think we're waiting around until this thing just goes away and people aren't contracting anymore. I think we've got to find the vaccine, right?
There's still work, but that's not expected to happen until next year sometime, maybe the spring, March or so that they continue. This precautionary stuff has to continue. The face mask, the social distancing.
So if in the next 3 or 4 months, when college football starts up and the NFL starts up, if we're not any farther along or closer to that, yes, I think we're definitely going to run into scenarios where we see guys that are, that test positive that are going to have to miss competition.
Well, we've seen the second wave is expected. They expect a second wave to hit. But I've also seen some positive things that say that it's weakening, that the strain is weakening as it goes along. So I don't have all the medical documents to tell you. So I'm not going to
think about it, Jim. I'll call them big cities, but I mean, even like Indianapolis and Fort Wayne and Evansville, and there have been protests across the country, for multiple days in a row. We're not talking like they met there for one day. I mean, we're talking about 2 solid weeks in a row of thousands of people in the same area right next to each other. And if there's not a huge outbreak, don't look at that as a positive sign. Because, I mean, these people couldn't be any closer proximity to each other than what we're seeing in those months.
Yep, I agree. No, I think I lost Todd for a second.
Sorry,
for a second. But Nick Elam. I'm getting back to Nick Elam, the Elam ending. I'm wondering who that announcement's going to be, man. It's just been piquing my mind ever since he said that. I just can't get it out of my head.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to try to check in with him personally and see if he's had any contact with AAU tournaments. I mean, I know a lot of these tournaments, the big national tournaments, are run by a lot of them are run by Nike and the big shoe companies, but a lot of the local tournaments are run by, local guys. I mean, I know the people who put on the Adidas tournaments here in town and all that. I mean, I'll be shocked if they're not implementing this Elam ending. I mean, it is designed for AAU and youth sports and athletics. I don't see how they don't have that going. So I want to find that out.
It would certainly, like you said, it would eliminate the hack-a-shack. But I don't. Is there a lot of that goes on in the AAU?
Yes, a ton, because you've got so many kids that are not good free throw shooters. I can assure you, we put the hack-a-shack in place. A lot of times we would do it to start a game, just to build a lead. I mean, I hate to be that way about it. I mean, this is AAU is designed for kids to get better and improve and develop. And unfortunately, you get idiots like me who are so competitive, they want to win so bad, like they'll mess with the rules of the game to try to win, put their team in the best spot to win. We would hack a shack to start a game a lot to try to build a lead because it's so much easier to play with a lead. If you see a kid on the other team that can't shoot free throws, I would put a kid who generally might not start in a game, I would put him in to start fouling right away as soon as we got to the bonus. That's why in a lot of AAU games they did away with the bonus. They don't do the bonus until you 10 fouls.
Well, it almost would make sense then.
That's probably partially because of me.
But it also
and people like me.
That gives you more ammunition to add the Elam ending.
100%. There is I don't know what, other than just being a purist and saying, I want it to be the way basketball's been since I was a small child. I can't think of one single reason why the Elam ending would not be incorporated into AAU and amateur, all amateur basketball events, at the field house and at the Pacer Entertainment Center up in Westfield and everywhere, like every YMCA and every little youth league. It only makes sense to put this. It won't take very long for it to seem normal and catch on and be what everyone expects it to end like.
Yeah, nothing seems normal at first. I mean, it's just if you just put on a different pair of gloves, they're going to feel different for a minute. But yeah, it's just what we're used to. And I'm just wondering, can people, how far can this go? This is not going to. I don't see this reaching into college basketball. I don't see it reaching.
Yeah, I mean,
you never know.
Here's the thing: I can't be a bigger supporter of it for AAU and youth athletics. Now, like I said before, if you said, "Hey, they're going to put it into the NCAA tournament next year," I'd be like, "Oh, hang on a minute, are we sure?" And I'm not sure I wouldn't love it, but I'm also not sure I'm willing to give up what I think is the perfect sport event. Make change to it because it's so awesome to watch. Like I love it that much. I don't know that I would want it to change, but I also don't know that 3 years from now it will make it better.
I'd have to look at the data, and I don't know if there's enough data because of where it's been used because these are AAU tournaments. But I wonder if it would allow for potentially more upsets. Does it allow for lesser opponents to possibly play a little more even with other teams? I don't know. It's because it's just at the ending and doesn't have effect on the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of I like the fact that it doesn't let a team stall the clock out. And, I hated the four corners. That's why I love the shot clock. The shot clock, think about it. When I first started playing basketball, there was no shot clocks. No shot clocks. And that drives me insane. Like, I don't like that kind of basketball. So,
yeah, that's all right. Tim hit the text line, says, do you think Coach Miller and Allen is going to make it to Huber's this year? Wow. That's a question I had not thought of, but no, absolutely not. My opinion, absolutely not. I think that there will be no Huber's, but that is nothing coming from anywhere but me. But I cannot imagine with all the precautions. If there is, it's going to be the hottest ticket in town because that usually pretty close to sells out. And I forget how many people it holds there, but it's a lot. And if you have to cut that in half, yeah, that's going to be the hottest daggone ticket in town, man. So, but I don't know. I'm sure Huber's would love it because I'm sure that they could use the business for certainly. But that's a great question. I don't see that happening with IU and the schools doing so little to keep guys separate. Can't see a caravan kind of a thing happening this fall. No, I don't. I just don't see that. Good question, though.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's too early to call. Hopefully we learn more between now and then. But as of now, I would probably say that's a no-go.
I would agree, man. Great question, though. That was a good one. That Going to wrap it up for us today. We appreciate everybody joining us. Of course, appreciate having Nick Elam on the program as well. As always, look forward to have him on again soon, as the TBT is about to get underway in a couple of weeks. July 4th, I think, is when that gets going. Also, an announcement coming up, as he said, someone else is going to be adding the Elam ending. We'll see who that is. We've got some side bets going on who that is, but we'll find out. Hey, tomorrow, awesome day. We're coming to you from the Fowl Golf Course at Indiana University. The new course will be out there broadcasting live. Today is the opening day, actually, official opening day today. We wanted to give them a day to get through I'm sure they're going to have headaches because the tee times were sold out within like 15 minutes. As soon as midnight struck, I think, for today, Todd. So you will not be playing out there today for sure.
Nope. I hadn't planned on that. And, it's great it's the first opening of IU facilities. So we're excited about that. And, it'll be a fun day out there tomorrow. I can't wait.
Can't wait. Look forward to it. Hope everybody goes out and has a great day. Do something nice. Say something nice to somebody. Until tomorrow, for Todd and Jimmy, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.